I'm Dr. Onyisi Abebe. I work for UN Women as a regional knowledge management and research specialist. UN Women in this particular region covers Eastern and Southern Africa, and of course we have West Africa as one of our regional offices. In this particular region, our work is mainly focused on women's economic empowerment, which include a lot of climate smart agriculture and policy interventions. But we also work on elimination of violence against women as one of the critical areas. We focus on women, peace and security, and lastly humanitarian action. Sustainable Development Goals is one of the areas that of course cuts across the entire of our work, because it's an agenda that UN is very keen on, and UN Women particularly is very keen to realize the gender-related targets and indicators to be achieved within, of course, the framework. I think that's the regional projects is what I've really spoken about. We do women's economic empowerment, and it is mainly focused on climate smart agriculture. We also do women, peace and security, which is linked to a lot of policy discussions, and we also do violence against women, and this is mainly focused on how we can be able to eliminate violence against women within the different frameworks, international frameworks and policy agreements that we have as the UN. And lastly, we are focused on humanitarian action, just seeing how women and girls can be cushioned during humanitarian situations. And as I said, Sustainable Development Goals is a cross-cutting issue that we are focused on as UN Women, and we are specifically looking at Goal 5 on gender equality and women's empowerment to ensure that it is implemented and localized accordingly by the member states, but mainly also focused on the other gender-related targets and indicators across the entire framework. As you know, the Sustainable Development Goals have over 11 goals which have gender-related targets and indicators. So that is really one of the things we are looking at, and mainly focus on research and policy interventions that can enable the realization of the agenda. The launch was great. We were launching our global SDG report, Turning Promises into Action, which is focused on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and which was recently released. Is the first of its kind, monitoring all the 17 goals and looking at what it is giving against gender equality targets and indicators in the SDG framework, but also looking at what policy, investment and programmatic interventions we can be able to do to be able to realize the agenda. And I would say that it was well attended. It was really great, and we appreciate the opportunity to have the launch within the Aid Forum, of course. For the summit, I would say that I attended yesterday the session on health SDGs. I actually moderated that particular session, and it was interesting, of course, to look at various innovations and that can be leveraged to ensure that the health SDGs are realized, and of course talking about the scoping in terms of what are the threats that can be able to hinder the achievement of SDG 3 in health. And we were able to be in that panel with the European Union, AMREF Africa, and a colleague from IMO, International Organization for Migration. And it brought in very interesting perspectives that emphasizes the fact that for health SDGs to be achieved, then governments must prioritize investments that are oriented to those particular SDGs, but also be able to ensure that no one is left behind. And of course, the people who are mostly left behind include the marginalized communities, women and girls, migrant workers, we have children and the elderly persons. So one of the things that came out is that the government must prioritize investment in those particular positions to ensure that they are not left behind, but also public-private partnerships are very much critical in the realization of SDG 3, just like any other SDG across the entire SDG agenda.